How fancy do you like your serious off-roaders? Well, the Toyota Motor Corporation gives us the choice between posh and pragmatic. This is the Lexus GX and this the Toyota Prado 250 series. 4x4 cousins that share the same ladder frame chassis but with very different drivetrains and interiors. Now perhaps you're tossing up, is it worth the 20 grand or so extra to move up to the luxury Lexus? Both are incredibly competent off-road and will tow 3.5 tons. But the thing is, most of these vehicles are used as just the everyday transportation for your family. So the purpose of this video, we're going to explore the key differences between the vehicles, the pros and cons of each, and very importantly, which is going to suit your life better and your budget. We're going to be looking around them, we're going to be going through them, and we'll explore the very different drive experiences these two cars offer.
Chasing cars. Honest reviews of your next car.
Brought to you by
Let's meet our two test vehicles. The Prado is the range-topping Kakadu model, and that costs 10 bucks under $100,000. Whereas our Lexus GX, these start from 116 grand for a luxury grade. This one is the mid-spec Overtrail, which is the more off-road focused one. This is 122 grand. Would have much preferred to get a luxury or a sport luxury version here, but don't worry, this one's still perfectly relevant and still has the full luxury Lexus treatment inside. I reckon this thing is bang on trend. I don't think I've seen a tougher looking Lexus for a very long time indeed. I love the boxy shape, the big fat arches, the muscled looks. It is a cool looking thing. And I really enjoy how it's a nice big black grille on the front of this rather than the big chrome grille that Lexus used to give us. I think it really does suit the aesthetics so well and also just gives a real purposeful look to this thing, especially on those all-terrain tires around the side. Dimensionally, the Prado is near identical to the GX and of course shares its boxy vibes. There's also FJ40 retro old school look to this thing, which I really like, and these bi-LED headlights as well. Even though I'd have preferred round ones like they get in America, I think it gives a really nice look to these new Prados. The Kakadu as well also has big 20-inch wheels, which look fantastic under those very squared off arches. Let's start with the hardware then. The Prado uses basically the Hilux engine, which is a 2.8 litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel, good for 150 kilowatts and 500 Newton meters. That's mated to an 8-speed auto gearbox, got permanent 4-wheel drive, low range and centre locking diff. But one thing you do, despite this car costing nearly 100 grand, is you've got to lift the bonnet support up yourself. But what a difference under the GX's hood. We have got petrol power now. This is a 3.5 litre twin turbo V6, good for 260 kilowatts and a chunky 650 Newton meters of torque. You've also got 2 more cogs to play with. This thing uses a 10-speed auto transmission, also full-time 4-wheel drive with low range and that center locking diff. So you get way more grunt and muscle with the big Lexus, but it comes at the cost of economy. The Prado with its diesel engine also has a mild hybrid 48-volt system, and that's helped reduce economy to 7.6 litres per 100 kilometres. It's not such great news with the Lexus, which swallows 12.3 litres per 100 kilometres, and you're also going to need more expensive 95 fuel. Get into town and we've seen figures up at 17 litres per 100 kilometres for the Lexus. So it's going to really hurt your wallet with that car. There's more bad news if you go for the Lexus. Its fuel tank is only 80 litres, so we've been seeing range of just over 500 kilometres, which means you're going to be stopping a hell of a lot when you're out touring. Much better for the Prado, it's got a theoretical range of about 1,450 kilometres. That's despite it only having a 110 litre tank, whereas the old Prado, of course, had a 150 litre tank. This is the first Prado that needs AdBlue as well, and you're going to have to be topping that up every 8,000 kilometres or so. Bear in mind there's a huge difference there between the range you're going to get between servo stops, and if you're towing, that's going to be exacerbated even more. Just want to show you one thing that doesn't feel that Lexus-y. It's just the way that door closes. It feels a lot more Toyota, a bit more relevant on the Prado than this thing. Yeah, that's Toyota-y, not Lexus-y. On the inclusions front, you're really not hard done by in this Prado Kakadu. It's loaded with stuff. These leatherette seats are really nicely bolstered and supportive, really good under my backside. And they're also heated and cooled 3 different ways. Memory seats, I've got a heated steering wheel, which also moves electrically. I've got 2 12.3-inch screens, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, wireless charge pad. I've even got a cool box in this center console. So really good levels of kit. But what you do get is the feeling that it's still quite a utilitarian vehicle. It doesn't feel special or luxurious like a real premium brand would. And certainly the plastics through this center console are really quite cheap feeling. So I think that's going to be the difference when we get into the Lexus. Now this is more like it. You definitely get the air of prestige in the GX, but I must say it's not absolute top drawer Lexus. There's still some carryover left over from that Prado that it can't hide. But I must say it's a much better user experience up the front. We've got a giant 14-inch infotainment screen, and instead of the many buttons there are in the Prado, I've got mainly touchscreen here, except beautiful controls for my climate. And they've just got a lovely tactile feel to it. Very high class, those ones. Otherwise, 12.3-inch driver display as you get in the Prado, and these seats as well, I reckon they're absolutely identical to what we've got in the Prado, which isn't a bad thing. They're very comfortable, and they also have the climate control, they're heated, and they're memory seats as well. Got the power for the steering column, but one thing that is different is I haven't got my panoramic roof in this. I've only got a small sunroof. Other than that, wireless CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, and a phone charging point. And this center console area as well, that is lifted above the Prado. That feels much more prestige and a nicer thing to look at and feel around. A bonus of sitting in the back of the Prado Kakadu is the full-length panoramic sunroof. Now that puts a lot more light into these rear seats. So if you've got the kids traveling in the back here, that's going to be a much nicer experience. The Lexus in the grade that we've got, unless you go into the top grade, that hasn't got the panoramic roof. So that's something to think about. Now these seats are pretty good. I don't mind the space in this. It's not absolutely vast, but I think it's more than manageable. What it does lack is sliding rear seats here. They do recline to quite a nice level, as you can see. But yeah, I think for extra versatility, you'd really want these things to be on sliders. Now the seat bases are actually quite flat and firm. So they're not absolute top drawer when it comes to large SUV travel, but again, it just depends how fussy your rear seat passengers are. A real bonus for these Prado Kakadus is you've got tri-zone climate control, and also, this is real spoil yourself stuff, you've got cooled and heated seats in the outboard ones in the back. That's totally spoiling your kids. Also, a couple of USB-C ports as well. I think we might have our first win for the Prado. I've just hopped out of the Kakadu top grade and I'm in now our Overtrail GX, and I must say it's not quite as well appointed as it is in the Prado. For starters, I haven't got the lovely light being bathed from the panoramic roof. The sunroof just stops for the front seats, and I haven't got heated or cooled seats back here either. Other than that, it feels remarkably like the same car. I've got the same leg room, the same knee room. These middle seats, they don't slide, but they do recline to the same level. And yeah, the leather feels pretty much exactly the same, and it's the same really quite flat floor under my backside. So it doesn't feel next level Lexus amazing luxury, but it's still not bad. But personally, if I was going to go for a long trip, I'd rather do it in the back of the Prado Kakadu. Both the Prado and the GX share this clever little glass hatch that opens up, and then you can easily access your smaller kit or off-road stuff. If you've done your homework on these new Prados, it'll be no surprise to see the horror show that is the boot in here. It really is an absolute dog's dinner, unfortunately. This is the third row of seats. If I fold these down, now on account of the hybrid 48-volt system that's under the boot floor, when I fold this third row of seats down, it's not a perfect flat floor. So what Toyota's done is they've put this rather flimsy box that you can only put 60 kilograms in. Now you can lift that out, but look at the mess that remains. It is not a very good load space at all. Here's another not great bit of design either. If I want to get these third row of seats up, I have to lean in and grab this clip and pull that up. Now look where my legs are. If we're off-roading, my trousers or shorts are now absolutely covered in mud. All it needs is a strap on the back of those, like most 7 seats have, to pull those up. Even though you do get air vents in the ceiling in this third row, there is not a vast amount of room for an adult like me. And that is a symptom because we're not able to slide this middle row seat forward any. Beyond that, the seats are reasonably comfortable and my head's not quite on the ceiling, so it's certainly tolerable. While there's a fairly decent 906 litres of space here up to the roof, a real problem is all these little gaps in the boot of the Prado. So if you imagine all your kit's going to go in here, it's going to fall into all these little gaps and you're not going to quite know where it ends up. Again, it's just a really compromised boot space in this Toyota. Let's have a look in the Lexus then. Now, some would say it's worth that 20 grand extra just to get the boot that this thing affords compared to that Prado. So as you can see, a nice, flat, sensible and normal boot floor, making loading in really easy. You haven't got that silly box in your way and you haven't got the seats here. Now, total disclosure, we were supposed to get a 7-seat version of these GX. We haven't got one, we've just got the 5-seater. But when it does have a third row of seats, that folds into the floor, so you retain this really nice, massive boot space, over 1,000 litres in the Lexus, and of course, nowhere for your stuff to fall into, causing the hazards of where's my stuff gone to. Our 4x4 twins are absolutely designed for serious off-road and towing work. But this test is going to be a little bit different between the two vehicles. I'm going to show you what it's like where typical Australians will be using such vehicles, which is in the burbs, around the city streets, on some country roads and a little bit of dirt roading as well. I'm starting in the Prado, and immediately what I love about this car is so high up that you sit. You're higher than practically any other SUV on the road, and the glass house is superb. This upright windscreen, really tall, long windows as well. Amazing views around and about. You really do feel like you're in a big truck. We can't forget that these are ladder frame vehicles. So if you are only ever going to use these things in town, I'd seriously consider something with a monocoque, something like a BMW X5 or a Hyundai Santa Fe, something like that. But I'd like to hope if you're considering one of these vehicles, you'll know that already and are buying it because you will be using it as your adventure car as well. What can I tell you about the drive experience then? Well, because it's a ladder frame chassis, it's still quite a jiggly, jerky thing around town. You can feel it all underneath you moving around, which is just, again, because of the capabilities of this vehicle. It's in no way uncomfortable, it just always lets you know it's there. So on anything but perfect roads, you are going to be jiggling around a little bit. The positive of this Prado Kakadu is it does have adaptive suspension. So I can move in between 5 different modes. I've just got normal. Comfort I've chosen for the moment because that just seems to help absorb the bumps a little bit better. What is a positive is how well Toyota has set this vehicle up, considering it's going to be used in town so much. If I just tackle a reasonable roundabout like this, it sits quite well. The tyres are holding on nicely. And yeah, there's solid balance to this thing. It really is good. And the electronic power steering, that's a big upgrade over the hydraulic power steering of the old Prado. There's much better feel and directness. I'm able to place it in little corners a lot easier, a lot more exactly. And while I'm on the subject of in between the lines, the driver assist system in this, it does have, of course, lane keep assist. And it does a really good job, I reckon, of not being over nannying. It really subtly gives you a little push back, a little vibration through the steering wheel if you get too close, but it's in no way spoiling the drive. Around town, the steering is absolutely fingertip light. It's just an easy thing to live with. So no massive big SUV that you're hauling around needing giant biceps to get it through the turns and the roundabouts. So the school runs, no dramas here whatsoever. Importantly, the whole drive experience feels a lot more modern than the old Prado. With so much modernity and clever new systems in this Prado, I suppose the letdown is that the engine is a carryover from the old Prado, and you do feel that as you're cruising through town and when you pick up speed. It just feels a little bit agricultural. I mean, fit for purpose, absolutely. And is there enough power? I mean, 150 kilowatts and 500 Newton meters. They're reasonable numbers for a turbo diesel, but the problem is this is much heavier than the old Prado. So at 2.5 tons in this Kakadu, it's got a lot of weight to pull along. And if I put the foot down, I mean, it's very, very leisurely. It labors to get up to speed, and you're looking at well over 10 seconds to get this thing to 100. So if you want any sort of performance, this isn't the car for you. That's why you might need to look to something like the Lexus with the twin turbo V6 petrol. But of course, we can't overlook the economy of this thing. I'm seeing about 10 litres per 100 around town, which is much more livable with than the 17 to 20 you're going to be getting with that big thirsty Lex. And also what gets me, if I shift from normal or comfort mode into Sport Plus mode, and then put my foot down, I'm feeling absolutely zero difference. I'm not quite sure what all these drive modes do in terms of throttle response or pickup, or the way it works the gears, but it certainly doesn't turn it into anything more of a performance vehicle. But credit where it's due, the 8-speed gearbox does do a good job of switching between cogs in a smooth manner, which on this bit of road is appreciated because the ride itself isn't that smooth at all. I'm jiggling along quite a lot on this rather uneven surface. And I know these Kakadus are 100 grand before you even add on-road costs, but it's still a pretty luxurious place to be. I mean, the controls and the layout may be old school Toyota to a degree, but the seat comfort and the heated and the ventilation, the sound system's good. My driver aids work nicely. I've got that lovely big screen and my wireless CarPlay. It's pretty well appointed and pretty well spec'd, so I'm not going to grumble too much in that area. I know the Lexus brings a lot more luxury, but at the same time, you're not feeling hard done by here. You are not in some old dirty work truck at all, which I suppose you don't want to be when you're paying this sort of money, do you? The Prado really does shine on these country roads I'm on now. The steering, that electronic steering, that really does give decent feel. And the chassis beneath me, for it being ladder frame, it almost gets better the quicker I go. And just when you think it's going to become a flobby, blobby mess, it just sits pretty well. I mean, there's body roll, of course there is, but for the type of this vehicle and its capabilities, it's really nicely controlled. And I've got plenty of confidence in it. And if I just stand on the brakes as well, yeah, nice progressive feel, pulls up really well for something weighing 2.5 tons. And then, yeah, but that engine does let you know it's there when you accelerate. Super smooth through that gearbox though, but yeah, you don't miss that diesely engine note. It does feel very old school. Immediately stepping into the Lexus, oh, it's such a change. It really is a marked difference here. Just pulling away, everything feels a bit smoother, a bit more relaxed and calm, not quite so diesely and rattly, of course. And yeah, just a lazy, easy power of a big V6 engine. And straight away on our country road, it doesn't feel as jiggly as the Prado, not at all. It just feels a smoother. I'm just going to move my drive mode, check I'm in comfort. It's got exactly the same graphics as the Prado when I pull that up. And yeah, the comfort mode, I mean, it's still jiggly with the ladder frame, but it just seems to be better controlled and a bit more cushy. Yeah, like this thing. And yeah, the steering feels a bit tighter as well. And you know what, it's just a little thing, but hopping in this car, it smells richer, it smells more luxurious. Like there's just more leather in here, and it's just going into your nostrils and reminding you, yeah, you have paid a premium here for a proper prestige brand. And then despite its weight, bit of a delay, but oh, that V6, that is muscle and guts right there. That is a lovely thing, and it makes a decent note as well, and it doesn't mind some revs. What a lovely motor it really is. It just makes a phenomenal difference to the drive experience here. It just feels special. And do you know what? When you're paying 6 figures for a car, be that a Prado Kakadu or one of these GXs, you really do want that sense of occasion, that sense of specialness. And this V6, yeah, that's a lot more enjoyable. Wow. Serious pull. Lovely, lovely, lazy, easy going, but quick enough. I think we did some 0 to 100 testing in this car, and we're getting low 6 seconds, which, considering 2.5 tons, that's rapid. Yeah, this Lexus just munches that Prado on the performance front, and I really like how they've given us paddle shifts. That's lacking in the Kakadu as well. And the 10-speed auto, it's had a tiny little hiccup on 2 occasions for me, just slight stuttering, but otherwise it is just silky smooth as well. Nothing wrong with the Prado's 8-speed, but this one just adds that extra level of smoothness. There's just so many cogs to choose from. And if I just drop down a few, yeah, that's really good response. Wow, that's so much fun. You can just take control, get yourself in 3rd or 4th gear, and you've got instant response. That's going to make life a whole lot easier when you're overtaking in a hurry. But oh god, yeah, we're seeing about 17 litres per 100 kilometers just on that little stint alone. and I just can't believe they've given this thing such a small fuel tank. It's gonna mean so many regular fill-ups, so I hope you've got deep pockets when it comes to your fuel bills. But you know what? Life's full of compromise, and if you're going to be paying a few $1,000s extra in fuel, the drive experience is just really feels like it's worth it. Yeah, I could be convinced. This is a very special feeling. It's just a great fun car to drive. And how many other ladder frame giant SUVs can you say that about? I love driving this. It's so good. And I know we should have got the luxury or luxury sport variant for a proper comparison, because at the end of the day, this Overtrail is on all-terrain knobbly tires, but I'm not getting any nasty road noise coming through. They're not making an absolute racket, and the actual grip level seems fine. I'd be keen to know what it's like in the wet, but on a dry road like this, I'm not seeing any problems whatsoever. And God, they look tough on it. So I reckon if you could, if you're going to choose one of these, unless you're just going to be cruising through town, want some serious grip potential from those all-terrain, this is such a great model to go for. It makes a lot of sense, and only so 6 or 7 grand more than the luxury. Yeah, I like this car a lot. It's just giving you the sort of enthusiast feels that you just don't get with the Prado. I mean, the Prado I deeply, deeply respect, but this one I respect and I love driving. It's such a good thing. Oh, and maybe just one more time, just drop a cog, floor it. Oh, what a noise. That's just lovely, but you can almost watch your fuel gauge start to plummet, and you can imagine how capable and good it would be if you are towing something like your 3-ton boat, but man, you're going to be really crippled when it comes to using fuel. Yeah, if anything, I feel a bit more adaptive damping in the Lexus than I did in the Toyota. It's very, very soft and spongy ride, but at the same time really nicely controlled. The kinetic suspension that's in this Overtrail grade as well, that seems to be working really nicely. It's coming together for just this really quite competent all-round drive. I mean, throwing into some corners, there's lean, but still nice balance and decent weight to the steering as well. So it's the sort of car that you can sort of put your hand up and say, this could take me anywhere. It's an everyday car, but it's also practically a tourer, off-roader, tow vehicle. It's one of those magic cars that you could see yourself living with over just about every circumstance, and with a smile on your face as well. And there's the extra level of specialness having this giant 14-inch screen in the middle, which I must say, I've been using it a fair bit just with its native functionality through Lexus. And yeah, it's fast, it's crisp, it's just a good big rig. And thank goodness Lexus has left behind those horrible touchpads of old, and I've got a really smart system here. My only complaint would be I've still got to poke away at a screen just to change my ventilation to go up and down, but just changing the climate's a very simple roll of a knob here. In conclusion, the Lexus on road, it just feels that extra notch higher in ride quality, ride comfort, and certainly noise suppression. You're only going to hear that motor when you actually ask it to perform, and it's a nice thing to listen to, whereas when you put your foot down in the Prado, it's a slightly uglier, dieselier, rattlier noise. But of course, there's the economy drama when it comes to this Lexus. So it's horses for courses, as they say. You'd buy the car that's most suited to you, but yeah, we can't forget the level of specialness that this drive experience offers in the Lexus. So while we've proven exactly how good these things are off-road, serious off-road that is, in our other videos, I'm just going to do a brief gravel road test in both of our SUVs, because these are the sort of things that when you're out adventuring, finding the campsite, that mums and dads will be taking their kids along. Okay, so permanent four-wheel drive in these Lexus and the Toyota, so there's no need to press any buttons to change that. So it's already locked into all-wheel drive for me. Immediately noticing it doesn't mind a few rumble strips through there, and I've got a clever mode train select through these vehicles, so I'm just gonna nick it into dirt mode. There it goes. And then just on these all-terrain tires on the Lexus, so much grip, it's ridiculous. You can just feel how comfortable and settled it is. It absolutely loves being off-road. I just pitch it in, nice. The grip and control is just mega. It's just so clever. If you're long distance touring on a dirt road, there's few things that are as frustrating as horrible ride comfort, or you just feel like you're wallowing so much in the corners that you've got to take everything super slow. But it's the opposite in this Lexus. It just feels so competent and composed. I can take proper speed into these corners and it just sits so true. And if I just jam on the brakes, oh, it's a bit slow to come up, but you can feel the ABS absolutely pumping away. But it's such a heavy big rig. It certainly felt its weight through there, but otherwise it just wafts along on this stuff, just barely feeling the corrugations. It is a super supple big beastie, these things. Okay, so let's try the same course in our Prado Kakadu. I'm just gonna go to multi-terrain select again. It's identical system that I just had in the Lexus, and if I move into dirt mode, we're ready for the loose stuff. And yeah, straight away you can feel how much harder that diesel engine has to work, but it still absorbs these hits in a superb way. These things are so good on the loose stuff, on the rough stuff. And again, I've got lovely weight to the steering, just gives you good feel, and my hands aren't being flown around all over the place. This is the right bit of road that you don't want really super light steering. So that electronic steering again feels really good. And yeah, there's decent balance. I can just feel, because we're on highway tires, we're not going to get the grip of the Lexus on its all-terrains, but still, it just, the stability and traction control mop everything up very safely and easily. You'd absolutely be happy with this Prado or the Lexus GX for any of these dirt road things. I can't pick much difference between them at all in terms of their capabilities. They're the only real difference is the tires, as these highway terrains again slide out. But again, so easy to control, it makes you feel very safe. But yeah, these things are absolutely brilliant on the dirt road stuff. You could just travel for hundreds of kilometers and barely feel it. Brilliant, brilliant achievement by both Toyota and Lexus developing these things. Great stuff. Having lived with both these cars for some time now, I'm amazed how two vehicles that are so closely related can actually feel so different and give such a different drive experience. And what it really hits home to me is you must be incredibly choosy when it comes to knowing exactly what you want from a vehicle like this. It must be fit for purpose for your needs, and in that way the Lexus GX is an absolute indulgence. I think it looks fantastic. The engine is the absolute high point. That V6 twin turbo makes every journey a real fun adventure. And against the Prado, the boot is sensible, smart, and massive. While the cabins are quite similar, it's the Lexus's dashboard and general cockpit area that really feels a little bit more special, a little bit more premium. But it absolutely comes at a cost. The fuel economy in this GX is utterly crippling, and those service bills as well, they're off the charts. And even though in that area the Toyota is expensive as well, it's nowhere near the running costs of this Lexus. If you're buying such a vehicle for proper touring, off-roading, camping trips with the family, which you really should be if you're buying this sort of car, the Prado really does make the most sense. Having up to 1,500 kilometers range with that diesel tank, I mean, that absolutely destroys the Lexus when it comes to time between fill-ups. And once you get into the upper reaches of the Prado, especially this Kakadu, the specification and the quality are really, really strong. It's not as if you're going to feel hard done by when you get inside one of these things. In terms of the features, the inclusions, the tech, the kit, the safety, it's the match for, if not better than the GX in a few areas. While it feels everyman Toyota in the front, it's certainly been high spec enough and developed in this new generation to still feel like a really good new vehicle. But of course the compromise is that boot. It just wrangles me, it annoys me. I can't actually cope with how poor it is. And it would drive you to that Lexus if only you could afford it. So in conclusion, what I'd compel anyone to do, if you've got the sort of money to afford the upper reaches of the Prado or to hop into the Lexus, really work out how you're going to use that vehicle and how important that V6 experience is to you. I would absolutely love to know your thoughts of what you've seen today, what we've shown you through the vehicles. Please leave your comments in the section below. And as ever, thank you for watching Chasing Cars.